Oh.
And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes.
Wait, what's up?
Long computations, delayed salaries, your staff are running out of patience.
Why?
Those scary dreams could become real. No need for such drama. Manage your payroll easily and instantly with just one tap. Sign up today at build.africa. Download the Build app now.
This is it.
This is Kweku. He is stuck with the old way of doing payroll.
Oh.
And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes.
Wait, what's up?
Long computations, delayed salaries, your staff are running out of patience.
Why?
Those scary dreams could become real. No need for such drama. Manage your payroll easily and instantly with just one tap. Sign up today at build.africa. Download the Build app now.
This is it.
This is Kweku. He is stuck with the old way of doing payroll.
Oh.
And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes.
Wait, what's up?
Long computations, delayed salaries, your staff are running out of patience.
Why?
Those scary dreams could become real. No need for such drama. Manage your payroll easily and instantly with just one tap. Sign up today at build.africa. Download the Build app now.
This is it.
This is Kweku. He is stuck with the old way of doing payroll.
Oh.
And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes.
Wait, what's up?
Long computations, delayed salaries, your staff are running out of patience.
Why?
Those scary dreams could become real. No need for such drama. Manage your payroll easily and instantly with just one tap. Sign up today at build.africa. Download the Build app now.
This is it.
This is Kweku. He is stuck with the old way of doing payroll.
Oh.
And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes.
Wait, what's up?
Long computations, delayed salaries, your staff are running out of patience.
Why?
Those scary dreams could become real. No need for such drama. Manage your payroll easily and instantly with just one tap. Sign up today at build.africa. Download the Build app now.
This is it.
This is Kweku. He is stuck with the old way of doing payroll.
Oh.
And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes.
From Paperwork made simple. Build takes all the hassle away. Yep, don't be like her.
Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download the Built app now. Excellent. Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do it?
It starts with Built. Where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hassle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download.
All right, good morning once again, and welcome to today's episode of our Finance Friday series. Finance Friday is brought to you by Built Financial Technologies in partnership with Anchor Media. So today, without wasting much time, we are going straight into our discussion. We are looking at managing accounts receivables. So we'll be considering some of the strategies that you need to improve your cash flows, because mind you, it's the inflow that is supporting the business, right? So without wasting much time, let's go right into it. And for today's discussion, what we are going to be looking at is what account receivables are. We'll look at the account receivable process and then some common challenges that businesses face in meeting this account receivable process. And then also we'll look at how you can manage your receivables and then implementing some technological tools. Right, so without wasting much time, let's go right into it. Right, so when we talk about account receivables, what do we mean by account receivables? So, just a quick scenario for you. Every business is either selling a product or rendering a service, right? When you sell a product or when you render a service, you are being given value for it, right? It can be monetary or any other, but so for the sake of this discussion, let's use monetary value. So whenever you render a service, the person you render the service to, be it a business or a natural person, would give you value, or if you like, money in return for that service, right? So that is the normal course of business. But there are some instances that when you render a service or you sell a product, you don't receive value at the very point of the transaction. It takes some time before that value is being received into your business. So that's time within which you are waiting for the value to be received. You have something we call an account receivable. Right, so account receivable basically refers to those people or those businesses or individuals that owe something to your business for a service you have rendered or for a product you have sold. That is pretty easy, right? So if you sell and you have not been paid for it, what you are anticipating or the payment you're expecting is your account receivable. Great. So we say that when companies extend credit to customers, you record the sale, right? But if the customer has not paid you yet, you record a receivable for that particular one. Great. Now, why is it important to manage account receivables? Why is it important? The very first thing we need to consider is that account receivables, have some form of cash flow impact on your business, right? So let's look at this again. You are selling, right? When you make revenue, you incur some expenses. You pay for bills, you pay for salaries, you pay other expenses. So if you sell and the person you sold to does not pay you on time, it is going to affect your payment of bills also on time. The ripple effect is that your business's efficiency might be hugely impacted, right? So account receivables have cash flow implications for your business. And of course, it's also going to affect your operational efficiency. So it is always very important to have a proper management of your account receivables. Another thing also is that it has impact on your financial health, right? On your business's financial health. So your business may be making profit, right? But if what you have sold or if the service you have rendered are not being paid for, you'll be profitable, but you will not have funds to run the business, right? So today our goal is basically to explore some effective ways to manage our account receivable so that we ensure we have a steady cash flow for our business, right? So without spending much more time again, let's go right into it. So let's look at the account receivable process, right? The account receivable process. So basically, when you sell a product or a service, the first thing you do is to write an invoice or invoice the customer, right? That is, if you are selling on credit. Now, there are businesses who don't do credit sales or credit purchases at all. For businesses like that, there is nothing like account receivable for your business, because once you sell, you collect your cash. But where you collect cash at a later time, first thing you may want to do is to write an invoice. Now, following the invoice, you do a tracking of the invoice to make sure that they pay. So upon payment, you collect the money and then you record the payment, right? This is somewhat the easiest thing that almost every business that sell on credit goes through, right? The point is that if you are invoicing a customer, right, means that you have to wait for the future to receive your money. So it means that in order for you to shorten this length of time, you need to issue your invoices on time, right? Have a timely issuance of your invoices, and then also find ways and means to track all your outstanding invoices so that customers who are owing you, you'll be able to collect them on time. Once they pay you, make sure you are keeping accurate records of all the payments that you receive. Quite an easy process, right? And I believe that you go through this in every day of your operations. Great. Now, let's look further into some of the common challenges that businesses like you and I face, right, when we are managing our account receivables. And the very first one is that most businesses don't get value early, or if you like, most customers don't pay their debts early, right? So businesses are faced with challenges with managing their receivables, and of course their cash flow is hugely impacted if their customers are not paying early. So in your business, you might have this challenge where your customers are not paying you early, right? So delayed payments basically are going to have disruptions on your cash flow, and this may come from an ineffective invoicing system that you have, or probably your customer is genuinely having cash flow issues, right? Of course, there are other economic factors that might contribute to their cash flow issues, but this is a common business challenge that businesses, small businesses and business owners face in their receivables management. So in your operation, right, what you can do to curb this late payment is at least make sure that you are invoicing on time. Of course, because some businesses do operate a 30-day payables period. So if you are invoicing them late, it's going to take them 30 days to process your invoice, right? So it's always good to invoice early so that you prevent late payment. Now, the next thing is that most small businesses have a poor tracking of their invoices, right? They invoice all right, they are selling all right, they are rendering their services, but the invoices that they issue, they track it very, very poorly. And if you have an inadequate tracking of your invoices, you can be missing some of the payments, and of course you have some issues with your revenue management. So make sure you have a system in place to track your invoices. It's always good to have reminders. It's always good to have a system to follow up on your invoices. Going into the presentation, we'll talk about some of the tools that you can use to track your invoices. Now, the third common challenge that businesses face is that many debtors fail to pay their debts on time. This one is quite common amongst many business operations, right? So there are high debts bad debt rates amongst most of the account receivables, right? So when you have a high debt rate, it's going to affect your profitability. Beyond that, also, you are going to be plunged into the risk of having liquidity and all of that. The fourth challenge that we identify that businesses do face is that most customers always have disputes on their invoices. Most customers always and when disputes happen over invoices like that, what happens is that the payment days are being dragged into the future. Right, so in order for you to curb some of these disputes, try and have an open communication, right, and resolve issues with your customers very quickly so that you can overcome this challenge in your invoicing or in your receivables management process. Right, so these are some of the challenges that that is not this is not all, but these are some of the common ones that we see amongst SMEs or small businesses, especially like yours and mine. Right, so let's continue to look at the process that you need to use to manage your account receivables. So let's look at managing your account receivables. What are some of the best practices that you need to implement? And as we go through this presentation, if you have any question, you can put them in the comment section or in the platform wherever you are, whether you are joining us from Facebook, you are joining us from LinkedIn, from YouTube, from Zoom. You can put your question over there and then we'll address it in the course of time. Right, so let's look at some of the common best practices that you will need in managing your accounts receivables. Right, the very first one is that you need to, having sent your invoice, have a clear payment terms. Have a clear payment terms. In fact, we identified that one of the challenges that businesses face in their receivable process is that there are delayed payments. Of course, this is true on most parts, for customers who usually like to delay. But also, sometimes we issue invoices with very open terms, especially on the payment time. Right, so most businesses will send you, in our practice, we've had businesses send us invoices without any timeline on when to pay. So in our cash flow management, right, because the customer is not expecting payments on any, because our vendor is not expecting payments on any at any particular date, we might want to push that payment to the future when we think we have available funds. Right, so set clear payment terms so that your customers will not keep deferring your payment, because it's going to impact your operations and it will impact your liquidity. Right, so have clear payment terms on your invoice that you want them to pay you within 10 days. Payment is within 5 days, within 30 days, within 45 days. Have that clearly spelled out and communicate with your customers, either verbally or written, so that there will not be any misunderstanding. Great. Now, the next thing is that you need to invoice promptly. Invoice promptly. Do not wait till the service has been delivered for too long a time before you invoice, because mind you, for some of your customers, they would also need to take some time to process your invoice. So if you invoice in time, there is a probability or the high potential of you receiving your credits in time. So invoice promptly. Great. The third thing we recommend is that sometimes you may want to, incentivize your customers to pay you on time. So what would you do? Give them discounts. 2%, 1%, 5% when you pay within a particular time frame, right? So let's say if you're able to pay your invoice within 5 days, within 10 days, you get 2% off. And of course, in as much as you are incentivizing them to pay you early, make sure that it's not such that it is going to affect your business, hugely, right? So you are giving a discount like 10%, it can be quite huge. A discount like 1% or 2% may be relatively manageable, and it would incentivize your customers to pay you early, right? So one of the best measures that we recommend that is that you try and give them some incentive in the form of early payment discounts so that they pay you on time, because mind you, they are also trying to reduce their expenses, right? So giving them discount will incentivize them. Now, another thing that you can do, to improve your receivables is to have an automated accounting system. And guys, this is where we need to be very pay very much attention and channel all our energy into. You need to have an automated invoicing system, right? We have a lot of tools on the market now, and the one that we've been recommending to you every now and then is the Build Accounting software, right? Build Accounting software helps you to be very quick and apt at your invoicing. You can easily send an invoice, set reminders, set payment dates, and all of that on a Build Accounting software invoice, right? There are a whole lot of other softwares that you could use. There's QuickBooks, there's Xero, there's Tally, and what have you, right? So make sure you have an automated accounting or invoicing system in place to help you manage this particular receivables. The next thing is that have a segmentation for your customers, right? Categorize them based on your payment histories, because there are some customers who over time become very delinquent. We'll look at how to deal with delinquent customers in the next slide. There are some customers who as time goes on, they become very delinquent and very adamant at honoring their debts. So you might want to segment your customers in this regard to look at those who pay you very early, those who do occasional payment, those who are very reliable, so that you know how to invoice them, and you would also know how to tailor your collection process, right? So if a customer is very delinquent, you know that such an one you need to be following up every now and then. But for customers that are almost reliable every time, you can relax your collection strategies, right? So have a segmentation for your respective customers so that you know how to chase your payments, right, with all of that. Now the next thing is, we are coming to look at how you can assess the credit worthiness of your customers, right? So first and foremost, have a regular credit checks on your customers. What do I mean by that? This is in fact very relevant for businesses that do provide financial services to customers, right? Many customers, or if you like, many business customers, right, oftentimes default on their payment. And so it is very necessary that you have a credit check system, right, for you to be able to identify how their credit history is. For your business, you might be recommended a customer, right? One of your customers might recommend another customer to you who might be buying from you on credit. It is always very important that you know what the customer's credit history is. Are they good at paying their debts? How often do they pay their debts? How timely do they pay their debts before you extend a credit to them, right? Otherwise, if you don't have a proper credit history or understanding of your customer's credit worthiness, it is going to impact your cash flow hugely, because you will send an invoice to the customer and he will delay paying you and you will be in serious cash flow crisis, right? The next thing is that set credit limits, right, in assessing the credit worthiness of your customer. So set a particular threshold where you will not exceed, especially let's say for new customers. So if you have a new customer, there's a certain threshold that you shouldn't sell a good or a service to beyond on credit, right? Otherwise, if this customer, especially because you don't know their credit history, if this customer delays in paying you, it is going to impact your business's efficiency hugely. So set credit limits, right, for your respective customers. And like we said, you should be able to have some form of segmentation for them, so that you know for corporate clients you'll be able to allow a certain credit amount, right? And for individual clients there's a certain threshold that you wouldn't want to go beyond. So understand your customers, have a segment for them, and then set credit limits so that you'll be able to, you know, improve your collections, right? The final thing we recommend is that you have a customer tracking, you know, system, or if you like, monitor the behavior of your customers. So you track their payment patterns so that you'll be able to adjust the credit terms. So like I said, if you have customers who are very delinquent, or customers who don't pay you very early, you might want to set the payment terms or the payment days to a very short period, so that within that period you can start following up on your payment, because of course they might delay you anyway. So you'd want to shorten the payment period for such a customer. If you understand that your customer is having cash flow issue and all of that, once you're able to monitor them, you'll be able to, you know, be in contact with them, implement some proactive measures to make sure that if any customer is showing signs of distress, you are able to collect your monies in time, right? So have a monitoring system to monitor your customers' behavior so that you are proactive at managing your receivable in that regard. Great. Now let's look at how you are going to be able to deal with delinquent accounts or delinquent customers. So like we've mentioned time and over, there are some customers who are just defaulting on their payment. Yes, there are instances where it might be deliberate, where they are not managing their cash flow very well, or it could also be some other external factors that is affecting their cash flow issues. So it could be economic factors, they might be in financial distress, or what have you, right? So how are you going to be able to deal with customers like that? The very first thing is, you should of course understand your customers, right? Understand their payment patterns, understand how long it takes for them to pay you, right? So that when you understand that, you'll be able to implement policies, right? You'll be able to implement ways and means to be able to track or to chase your payment, if you may put it that way. So identify the patterns. If they are very late at paying their, if it's deliberate, right, and they are late at paying their invoices, then you can put on some penalties, like some interest and all of that, right? And it has to be contractual, right, so that they know that if they delay payment for a certain number of days, there's an interest chargeable on that invoice that they have delayed, right? The next thing is that you want to put in some strategies for your collection, right? So before I mentioned that for some customers you want to incentivize them, right? So you may want to give them some form of invoice discount if they are paying you in a particular short time, right? So implement collection strategies for your customers. You can start with friendly reminders. So hello, so and so business, we just want to remind you that your invoice is due in the next 2 days, or your invoice is due in the next 3 days. A very gentle reminder. Hello, so and so customer, we want you to know that your invoice is overdue by 1 day, or if you like, your invoice was overdue 2 days ago, right? So just set, you know, friendly reminders so that when it is getting, you know, out of hand, you'll be able to know how to deal with it very well, right? The next thing is that you have to evaluate the terms for problematic customers, right? Like I said, there are some customers who are just not paying you on time, because I mean, after all, you won't do anything, you understand? So for problematic customers, you may want to, you know, put in some revised terms that if they are delaying for a particular period, there is going to be some form of interest, right? Late payment may attract some form of interest, or you may want to put in some policies that would require partial payment upfront, right? So for businesses that do delivery, right, they have a very interesting way of managing their receivables. In fact, for businesses that do delivery, oftentimes their receivable does not enter into days. It's the same day, right? So for some of them, you make some part payments before the goods are delivered to you, and once they are delivered, you make the full payment. That is simple, a very easy way to curb delinquency. And then there are also some that will require you to make payment before delivery, right? So once you understand the pattern of your customers or the persona of your ideal customer, you'll be able to evaluate the terms that you want to trade with them on. Right, so you might want to take partial payments upfront, or you might want them to pay you by installments, right? When we've seen this work very well with especially very small businesses. When you are doing a B2B, right, and you sell to small businesses, sometimes encouraging them to pay by installments, right, helps them to better honor their credits, right? So you might want to evaluate, because they might be facing cash flow issues, or they might have some form of financial distress, right? So if you put them on an installment payment basis, of course you might want to put some interest on it, but that may serve them better, right? So in recent times, we have identified that we had one customer who have issues on paying their insurance, right? So they have had to go through a certain route that will help them ease the burden on their insurance. What did they do? They got in touch with a business that do pay insurance upfront, and then they take their payments on installments. So they are kind of brokers. They are more like insurance brokers. They'll pay your insurance for you, you pay them instrumentally, right? So that is how you can choose to manage your customers. Get them to pay you either partially upfront or to pay you by installment, so that your invoices would not go bad with them. Great. So these are some of the measures that you can use or implement with your delinquent customers. Okay, now let's get into the main deal: using technology. Now at this point, if you have any question, you can still put them in the comment box or in the comment section, or if you are joining us on Zoom, I think you can raise your hand. We'll call you so that you put your question across. So now we are coming to talk about using technology to manage your account receivables. And we have said this time and over that you need to use an accounting software. Of course, if you are in Ghana, if you are operating in Ghana, there are now a whole lot of invoicing platforms that you can implement, right, to help your business's account receivables management. So the basic you can do is to use an invoicing software. But beyond that, it's always good to have an accounting software, right? What do I mean by that? An accounting software can help you with invoicing, can help you tracking the invoice, it can even help you collect payment and then record the payment. Beyond that, you get reports on your invoices, on your customers, the performance of your customers, the performance of your account receivables. And then you may even get account receivables schedule, right, for you to know how your receivable days have been, right? So have an accounting software that incorporates invoicing into its operations, so that you'll be able to manage your account receivables very well. And all these things that I am saying, you know where I'm going. Built accounting software gives you all of these features, for you to be able to manage your receivables seamlessly, right? So the whole other softwares, like I mentioned, QuickBooks, Xerox, what have you. But if you are in Ghana, Built accounting software can help you track your invoices with ease. In fact, right from the inception of your creation of your invoices, you can send the invoice from the software. You can even use that to collect payments, and then once the payment comes in, you record it. You have reports on your customers, on your invoices, and what have you, right? So use an accounting software to manage your receivable process. Guys, we've gone beyond the days of using pen and paper. Go past that. Use technology, right? Now also, the next thing is that you need to find a way to make it convenient for your customers to pay you, right? If you're operating a business, you have sold on credit, your customers must not need to walk to your office every time they want to pay you. Have a payment platform, have a payment system that is or make it convenient for them to pay you. So if you're in Ghana now, there are a whole lot of platforms. The basis you can use is a mobile money platform or a mobile money system from the various respective telecommunication networks in Ghana. So if you're operating a business, the least is you should have a Momo, either MTN, Vodafone, Telecel, or Airtel Tigo. Have a Momo, system where your customers can easily pay you, right? They don't need to walk all the way to your business premise. Mind you, some of these inconveniences can lead to reasons why they are delaying on their payment. So don't do cash only, use a payment platforms. There are a whole lot of other fintech solutions in Ghana. There are many businesses that are rendering fintech solutions, wallets, what have you, for you to be able to use to collect your payment. So the point we are addressing here is have technology in place for your accounts receivables management. So use a software first and foremost, and then find ways and means to collect payments promptly, right? So use a mobile money platform, or you can even use a banking platform, so that your customers, all they will need to do is to wire their payments to you. They don't need to walk to your premise. I hope that is well understood. Right, so these are the main things that we want to discuss with you on your management of your accounts receivable. So if you have any question, you have any issue on your minds, you have any queries about Built Accounting software, mind you, this Finance Friday is brought to you by Built Accounting. If you have any questions surrounding stuff like Built, you can put them in your comment section and we will address them. Right, so now, just by way of conclusion, what we are looking at again is you finding ways to manage your accounts receivables. Right, so we are saying that effective accounts receivable management is critical for your management of your cash flows, right? Because you have sold but you've not received money. The person, your customer, will pay you in future. So managing them very well will help you to manage your cash flow effectively, right? So implement all these best practices that we have discussed, right? Like using technology and all of that, so that you'll be able to have significant improvement in your management of your accounts receivables. So right now, from where you are, start reviewing your accounts receivable process, right? And consider ways to adopt new strategies today to make your receivable seamless. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, we would like to take them, and maybe you might have joined us very late. So by way of recap, we are going to go through all that we have discussed today. Right, so we said that we are looking at ways to manage our account receivables. Please, if you have any question, if you have any query about today's topic, about today's discussion, about Built Accounting software, you can put them in the comments section or on the platform where you are, and then we'll address them quickly. Right, so we're looking at account receivables management, and then we are saying that your receivables are basically those people who owe you. So that is to say that you have sold to them but they've not paid you yet, right? So they owe you, and we are saying it is good for you to always manage them very well, because it has implications on your cash flow management, your liquidity especially, and your operational efficiency. And then of course, cash flow, from your receivables, is going to impact your financial health, right? So it's good to always manage them very well. We looked at ways to manage your cash flows, but even before that, we said there's a process that oftentimes you will go through if you have accounts receivables. First and foremost, you want to invoice them, right? Then you monitor the invoices, you chase them for payments, and then once they pay, you make sure you record them. So this is a very simple process that you would have in your accounts receivables management. So we said that having had this process, there are some common challenges that businesses do face, right, in managing accounts receivables. One of them is that your customers may not want to pay you early. So there are late payments that you might have to endure. Another thing too is you yourself may not be tracking your invoices very well, right? You have a poor management system in your tracking or monitoring system in your tracking of your invoices. So it is good for you to improve that. And we looked at some of the ways that you can use to improve that. First and foremost, you need to use a software. Great. Now, the third thing we identified is that there are some businesses that are facing high debts, high bad debt rates. Right. So it's a very common issue among businesses. That happens mostly when you sell to risky customers, like customers who you probably may not know their credit history, right? They may buy from you and may not want to pay you on time. Another challenge that businesses commonly face is that customers would always want to dispute on their invoice. No, the amount you have put on the invoice, that's not what we agreed on, or the interest on it is not what we agreed on, blah blah blah, the terms. So customers may have disputes on their invoices. So once that comes up, make sure you are addressing them on time, right, so that the payment will not delay. And then we also looked at some of the ways that you can use to manage your account receivable process. And we said the very first one is have clear payment terms, right? If you want them to pay in 30 days, state it clearly. They should pay me in 30 days. You want them to pay you in 15 days, state it very clearly. Another thing is also you invoice them promptly, right? Because like I said, for some, if you are doing B2B business, I'm sure you'd have encountered this, that you invoice a business and then they would want to take time to pay you. So if you invoice them late, the lead time to which they will pay you is going to extend. So always invoice promptly. Also, you might want to incentivize them to pay you quickly, right? So you give them some form of discount, early payment discount. So for example, if you pay within 30 days, you get 2% discount. So instead of they paying you 100 cedis, right, they would want to pay you quickly so that they will pay 90 cedis. 98 cedis. You understand? Right. Another practice that you can implement is that you use an automated invoicing system. A system that can send reminders, a system that can, send consistent checkups on your customers, what have you. And these systems, you can get them especially on accounting platforms like built accounting software. There's QuickBooks, there's Tally, there's Sage, what have you. Right. Another thing we also looked at is that you have your customers segmented into various segments so that you understand their behavior or their pattern of business. So if your customer is delinquent, the approach or the strategy you use to chase your invoice or to invoice them even in the first place is different from a customer who is very proper or who honors their debts on time, right? So implement any of these best practices to make sure that your receivable collection days are minimized and that you have good cash flow for your business operations, right? So we've also looked at some of the ways that you can use to assess the credit worthiness of your customer. First, we said you should conduct credit checks on your customers. So there might be instances where someone will recommend a customer to you. Try and understand the customer's credit worthiness so that you will get to know how much credit you would want to extend to that customer. And we said that, for businesses that are operating financial services, of course, your customers might have taken loans from many different financial service providers, right? So have a system to track their credit history. If you're in Ghana, there are a whole lot of credit bureaus that you can make credit reference checks from. There's SDS, there was one at the Shiashi, I've forgotten the name, right? There are a whole lot of credit referencing platforms that you can check the credit worthiness of your customers from. If they are not on there, you can get it from the customer who recommended another customer to you, right? So understand their credit history. Now, having done that, you'll be able to set credit limits for them. So for a new customer, you may not want to give the person so much credit because if they default or if they delay, it will impact your cash flow and your operational efficiency. That is very good, right? Now, the next thing also we spoke about is that you monitor their behavior, your customers' payment behavior, so that if this customer used to pay you early and now they are paying you late, you can understand that they are probably facing some financial crisis, right? Or some financial distress. Once you understand their payment behavior, you'll be able to devise strategies, to tackle your collections. Right. Now we looked at how you can deal with delinquent customers, and then we said first and foremost, identify their payment pattern, just like what we've just discussed. Identify their payment pattern so that you will know what strategy or what approach you go with them. And then it would always be good that you evaluate problematic, customers, the policies that you use for attacking, or addressing problematic customers. So if this customer is very problematic, you might want them to pay you upfront, or pay partially upfront, or pay you instrumentally, right? Or give them some discount, what have you. So identify their payment pattern, know the strategy to approach them with, and if there is always the need to review your policy with problematic customers, right? So we said that in spite of all of this, you are better off using technology, right? So first and foremost, have an accounting/invoicing system to help you invoice and track your payments, right? And then you need to make it easier for your customers to pay you, right? Make it very convenient to pay you. They don't need to walk all the way to your business premise. Have a payment platform. And I said the basic you could have is a mobile money platform to collect payment. You can use the banking system. You can use a lot of fintech solutions as well, right? So these are the main things that we have discussed for today's, Finance Friday series. If you have any question, we will gladly take them. If there's any question in the comment section, please draw my attention, or if someone has raised their hand, I can address their questions. And thank you so much for staying on with us for today's Finance Friday. In the meantime, if you have need for a real-time accounting software that you can use for your invoicing, right, from start to finish, right, to manage the end-to-end process of your invoices, look no further. Use Built Accounting Software. So you can get Built at www.built.africa, www.built.africa, and then you can sign up to use the many features. You can sign up for free, 30 days free usage, to identify what the system can do for you, most importantly for your invoices. On Built, you can write an invoice, you can set reminders. There are customers who might be out of the country. You can invoice them in foreign currency, right? And then you can use that same invoice, share with them to make payment. So if your customer is in a foreign country, the invoice that you send to them, they'll be able to, there's a link that they can click to make payment, and it will hit your account directly, right? So manage your invoicing with Built today, and you will thank me later. Thank you so much for the time. This Finance Friday series is brought to you by Built Financial Technologies in partnership with Encore Media. Encore Media is your partner for all your live broadcasts. If you have a media event, if you have any live events, any birthday photo shoots, in fact, everything photography, everything videography, Encore Media has got you. Thank you so much. Do have a great business day.
The CEO and Creative Director of Just J's Couture. So we are basically into anything that has to do with a woman's dress, from wedding gowns to regular office dresses, most especially wedding gowns. Our wedding gowns are what define us as a couture company, because from scratch to finish, all we need is thread and needles. From the embellishment to everything that has to do with a wedding gown, that's what we do. And then one thing our customers love about us is that we are always on time.